Hello everyone, this is Sid here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm actually going to be doing something different from what I usually do. I'm going to be drawing some buildings and giving some advice on how to draw backgrounds and stuff like that. So if you'd like to watch that, then please stay tuned, and without further ado, let's get started, shall we? So basically, if you did not already know, today or someday close to now is Twin Towers Day. And that is September the 11th. Basically, if you do not already know, or if you just forgot, what happened then was the United States World Trade Centers in New York were attacked by terrorists actually, and they flew planes into them and both of them came crashing down. So it was a very tragic and devastating event, and it's really sad because of course lots of people lost their lives in this event. And I wanted to draw the Twin Towers or something like that for a commemoration type thing, but I wanted to practice building design first because I'm not the greatest at drawing buildings, and I feel like lots of the artists in my community aren't really either because we focus more so on character design. But I just decided to make this video because I think practicing drawing different stuff is really good, and I'll explain why in just a moment. So here goes nothing. Basically, the first reason why drawing buildings is good is because it's good to practice stuff that you aren't already into drawing. Because, if you're an artist, you of course can have your one thing that you're really good at, that's truly your skill set, talent, and passion. But you should really try to have a wide variety and palette of all sorts of different things, Because that's the best way to make really, really good art that'll attract lots of people's attention, is by combining lots of different elements together as one. So I personally like drawing characters the most because I just feel like they're the best. When I was drawing these buildings, I was extremely bored because even though these buildings are a lot more colorful than the Twin Towers were, the Twin Towers are basically just two big blocks in the sky. They're gray, sort of silverish, They aren't really aesthetically pleasing. They look nice, of course, but they don't look interesting. So I did all of these other buildings that are actually based on my Lego sets, if you've seen my videos of me building my Legos. But Lego sets have really cool colors and stuff, and they just look very interesting and visually appealing. But of course, they're not as complex and complicated as character designs are, because characters you can relate to on a whole different level because they're actual real life people. Even if they're fictional characters, you still have a deep bond and connection to them, whereas buildings are just buildings. But you can never get good at drawing something if you never practice it. So even if you do drawing character designs, it's really good that you practice drawing other stuff animals, props, and buildings, because all of those y'all might use in different pieces of art. If you just want to do a full picture, you might draw a character with their pet animal with some props inside of a location. So you'd want to combine all of those elements together to make that one final image. Now, one of the next things I was going to mention is that adding stuff to the background can really improve your image a lot in terms of overall visual appeal. So basically, one of the things about photography, actually, because my dad is a photographer and I'm also in my yearbook class at school, we have to take pictures of stuff to put into the yearbook, and they teach us photography skills for that. So one of the things that's really cool about pictures is if you have certain lines in certain places and certain shapes in certain places, then it can help draw the viewer's attention to that place or to another place. So if you have lines on a sidewalk leading up to your character, then your viewer will naturally want to follow the lines of the sidewalk and their eye will be led to the character. So if you learn how to use these things to your advantage, then you can really manipulate the image in order to get the best possible outcome for your viewer. You can basically say or tell the viewer to look at something without directly writing it down. It's a picture is worth 1,000 words. You can really say a lot just based on how you set up and compose your image. Composition and setup is also a really important thing in art, but I might get into that in a different video. Once again, I'm not a huge expert on any of this because I am just like a beginner amateur artist. I'm definitely not like an intermediate or at all professional level person, but I do think that I have some experience. I've been drawing for like a very long time, almost as long as I can remember, definitely as long as I could hold a pencil. So yeah. And just like how I said earlier, the background. If you want to become a like webcomic artist, which I'm not exactly sure if I want to become a webcomic artist, but it definitely does sound really cool to me. I have lots of these characters who are close to my heart, and I really do want to tell their story in a visual form someday, sooner or later. But the idea of creating a webcomic is super daunting towards me. But if you do create a webcomic, if you are into that type of thing, then one of the most important things will be adding unique backgrounds. Because of course, backgrounds are almost essential to telling the story. Even though your story mainly revolves around your characters and their own internal conflicts, fears, misbeliefs, goals, desires, all of that sort of stuff, you still have the world that your characters are living in. You have like the setting, which is of course composed of the place and time, and you want to be able to show that clearly in your image. So your characters can't just be sitting in front of like a blank background, as tempting as that may sound, because it's just quick and easy and looks nice. You want your characters to be in front of wherever they are. So for instance, if your novel is set in like a sci-fi dystopian type of place, then you want to have all of that like futuristic looking architecture in the background. And if it's set in like modern day times, contemporary, then you want to have like modern day things in the background. And if it's set in like a medieval times or just like an ancient civilization, then you would like to have all of that sort of stuff in the background. So even though it's very subtle and people might not notice it at first, if they do notice it, then it will add a lot to the image, because it'll give you a clear picture of where your characters are. And also you can just hide like lots of hidden details within the background and stuff. Like if you want to add clues to something, if you want to like create little foreshadowings or allusions to stuff, then you can do that as well. Just put little hidden pictures in the background. But you can't do that if you just have a blank slate, plain background. And yeah. Basically, this one that I'm drawing right here is La Casa Madrigal from the Encanto movie, which is actually a very good movie. If you have not already watched that, then please watch it, because unlike some of the other Disney movies, it's actually still a really good movie. So even though Disney is kind of falling off the rails, they still knew what they were doing when they were writing Encanto, because it is a very emotional and heartfelt story. But anyways, I'm planning on doing a redesign of Encanto characters, or like an original versus redesign of the ones that I drew earlier. So if I draw those characters in that video, then instead of having them in front of my plain background, because that is something that I tend to do a lot, is just have a plain background, or reuse the same backgrounds multiple times over and over again, I'll have them in front of this background. So of course, adding someone in front of this background would make them a lot more interesting than adding them in front of a different background. Because in addition to having the character, of course, the viewer would also have something else to look at, which is always very cool. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all that I have to say about backgrounds. Just as a quick recap of all the points that I made in this video, it's really important if you're an artist to have your one thing that you're really passionate about, that's really your skill and talent, but you should also just try to do other things, because I mean, you never know what you might be good at. The only way you can figure out is if you try. And the only way to improve stuff is to practice. So you might be like, oh, well, I'm really bad at drawing buildings. Well, you should practice it, because that's the only way to get better. Number 2 is that the buildings in the background can add a lot of visual appeal. So like if you have leading lines, they can help guide your viewer's attention towards the character or the centerpiece of your artwork, and add all of that cool stuff. And also, if you want to make a larger scale project like a webcomic, then you'll want to have backgrounds to show where your characters are in the story, because your setting is a very big and important part of the story, even if it isn't as important as, of course, the characters are. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it and you would like some more art tips, then please remember to like and subscribe, because I do post videos like this very, very frequently. I post multiple long form videos every single week, and I post multiple short form videos every single day, actually. So I will almost always have something fun and artistic for you to watch. and it always helps me out because it encourages me and supports me, and it also boosts my YouTube channel into the algorithm so that more people like you can see my videos, and helps you to get notified so you will never miss a single one of my uploads. And anyways, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Always remember that I love you, and goodbye!